So when you're trying to build a narrative of a certain place, you ask the question, what do those worlds look like? And you become curious, you become inquisitive of how that place comes to be, no? So what I did was to look into an emotional geography, to map how a certain location felt, but also what was the anger attached to it, what was the kind of feelings that was attached to it. I also look into domicide and memory, the killing of homes and memory, how drones affected the image of home, and the look into war surveillance in the images. No? So this is the market in Marawi. This is one of the main mosques there. This is from an evacuation center, and this is actually a Catholic church riddled with bullets. Here as well in this church, as an ISIS takeover is, what they did was to decapitate all of the heads of the saints and Jesus Christ, no, in front of the altar. I did not even photograph them because I didn't see what was the point. Here, I look into the framework of the performance of memory, and this is by Annette Kuhn, a method on photography and cultural memory, wherein you can activate parts of a certain context through memory and through images. So it calls for some reenactment, but it is also a bit more, what they call this, sensitive to trauma, wherein there is that part of omission that you cannot show everything in a narrative. So here it says that memory work undercuts assumptions of transparency and authenticity because we cannot trust memory. Memory is a conscious and purposeful staging of memory. So you recount, you try to build it all over again. No? You try to construct it from what you know. And it's oftentimes part of myth making. So, but now what we do is we outsource memory through cameras, drones. It is marketed as HD. The SD card, for example, is memory, RAM as memory, cinematic and megapixels. It is sold as higher capacity, lower distortion, and sharper images. So I asked the question, has images replaced memory? Has it taken over how we remember? No? How does this tension um, resolve, or how is this tension built as well? Now, in this work, what I did was to create a photo essay on landscape and memory titled Left to Dry. What I noticed was that there was a lot of laundry all over the place in the evacuation centers. And for me, that indicated that they have now accepted that location as now their home, no, the evacuation as their home, but also reflected in the war torn area was their belongings left behind, their laundry, their textures, their textiles were all left behind. I remember seeing one teddy bear hanging by its head in the most affected area and being left to dry. What I want also to for the class to think about is in the verticalness of things, no, through drones, how does one see? So here, I hope this plays. So here, I was able to document the different homes in Marawi and how they are imagined or experienced as well. So this is around. Oh, also, this is only the second time I was able to fly a drone, and it was over a war zone, so that was a bit harrowing as well. No? And these experiences are a privilege to be able to see from above, to be able to hover from above as well. Now, if you notice that I also covered a volleyball game between the army and the evacuees, kasi nga I was coming from the UAP games. No? This reenacts how the ISIS entered the homes the first time through the Lano Lake. I want to stop here. In this scene, there's an imaginary line that I cannot cross through the drone because the Navy will shoot it down, and if they get it back, there's a reward for at least 30,000 pesos. Okay, going on. Now, I want you to think about the drone as part of a technology that seizes public imagination. Na when you watch a drone fly over things, no, you imagine, ano yung nakikita niyan? How far does it go? What details does it show? Etc. Um, then there is this Howley is an author who created a discourse on drones wherein it's all about weapons, drones as weapons. Now everyone can buy a drone. It witnesses the perspective of survivors. I know if you ever seen, let's say, post-war, post-calamity, there are always drone images. And then, how does the drone or artists use drones as resistance? But for Howley, it says that drone is the icon of America's war and capitalism because one, anyone can buy it, and they use the drone to destroy other homes. So it's a tool of domicide. Now, in this experience, I was asked, um, in this narrative, now I was told three things. The people on the ground compared the drones. They asked, um, saan na yan? They asked, what channel are you working for? So, sanay na sila in seeing drones fly over their homes. Anong channel kayo? They asked. Yung BBC, as in the British Broadcast Channel, no, brought a drone that was over 5 feet wide. My drone was as big like a book. At least it was a 10-inch drone. No? And then they kept comparing, yung BBC, ang laki-laki ng drone nila, layo na nililipad, ang ingay-ingay niya. So they were comparing it. They know what it was. And then, the other persons, no, they told me, dapat sinabi nyo may drone kayo. Because what they said was, pwede namin kayong dalhin dito sa ibabaw. Mas maganda yung view. And then, pag nakuha nyo yun, sir, pwede nyo ba ipadala sa akin para magamit ko sa Instagram ko? So, what? Now I have to send you images of my drone coverage, no? Sir, hanapin niyo yung bahay ko para may picture ako from above. So these notions, this verticality, this visuality, they perform. They know what they know what a drone can do, and they know it is now embedded in their imaginary. It is now embedded in how they experience the world as well. And finally, there was this village who said, dapat sinabi nyo, may drone kayo. Because if you have ever heard a drone before, you know it sounds like uh, a nest of bees, of hornets. It goes like zzz, and it keeps on, it's droning as well. Now, for this barangay, what they told us was, alam nyo bang may trauma kami sa sound ng drone? Because for them, when they hear a drone, it's either they're being surveilled by the military or they're about to be bombed. So for us, as soon as we heard that, pack up everything, apologize profusely, and say that, okay, nandito lang po kami para makinig, and hindi po namin expect na may ganong klaseng pangyayari. So from that point on, we never operated the drone ever again in Marawi. They became more sensitive to their own memory, to their own experiences as well. And what we've come to realize is that you only drone when necessary and when um, you have the permissions of those people on the ground as well. They become traumatized. Now, to relate this to our own experiences in this class, now, this is what I call for a sense of visual ecology. We look into how images change over time. We look into how maps change over time. But also, you have to come to realize that there is a sense of visual ethics too. There is a call of to be sensitive to the images that we create, to know how we create and use images in communicating with others, to look at visual ethics as that indescribable yet knowable aspect of meaning making, no, to what to show, what to convey, what to interpret. And of course, the visual ethics of appropriate use of power in regarding to self and others. Now I stop share here, and I'd like to share the point of visual ethics. No, I want you to be responsible for the images that you create. For example, the maps that you shared. Did you intrude in the spaces that you mapped? Did you reveal too much in sharing where you live? Did you, in the same time, show also who lives with you? Did you have their consent to show that kind of access to their own living spaces? Probably not. Okay. So I want you to realize this in this exercise. You have to be responsible in the images that you create. A map, as benign as it seems, no, has its own power to share narratives, to share what you want to share. But also, in the omission of details, there are things that you don't realize that are also being revealed in the same process. So when you map, be responsible for the images that you create.